Hello and welcome to the show. It is time to start a new car building series on Forza Horizon 3. I have been very much looking forward to going back to building some rally cars. But it does of course mean that we are going to have to set a benchmark, and this Audi Quattro is, well, about the perfect vehicle for setting a benchmark with. This series going to be a little bit different to the previous rally builds. We're not going to be doing a lap of a circuit. Now, initially I would have done, however, none of the kind of scramble circuits on here make for a huge amount of off-roading, really. So, instead what we are going to do is a point-to-point race. The cars are going to get 3-1s. This Quattro, I have done a couple of practice drives through here, so we're going to do one run with the Quattro. That's going to set a basic benchmark time, and then we're going to get into the buildings of stuff. I really like this course. I think it is an absolutely gorgeous track to drive along. It does start off a little bit on the tarmacy side. It's for the first kind of 20-30 seconds it is a tarmac road, although we do have a big water splash. You'll see when we get in here. But yeah, I figure this will be a really interesting rally stage. It covers just about all sorts for these cars. Now we're going for S1 class for the vehicles, hence why I'm using this Quattro. The Quattro starts right at the very top, as you can see, 896, so right 4 PI below the top of S1, and of course, perfect vehicle for setting a benchmark here. Oh, let's get through the cameras, find the point that we want. So this is our start line. We run through a rather large water splash. I don't know, Australian roads, do you, or any Australian people, do you know your roads have sort of big water splashes just across the middle of them in places? I don't know, that seems a little bit odd to me because that is a fairly sizable road, really. But yeah, the initial part of this run is a tarmac section, but up here we will depart this onto the dirt. Now, this stage is a very quick rally stage, relatively long circuit. Not so much in the way of big heavy braking zones at any point. Lots of fast corners to be worried about, lots of bumps, lots of jumps, and plenty of water. Horizon 3 does like having its water effects around, so that is, yeah, abundant on this course. Something for the lower vehicles to potentially stumble upon. Lower the ride height cars do tend to struggle through the waters, so that is something for the likes of the supercars and whatnot crazy that will go in this series to feel. That is our big jump of the course. It is a mighty crest as they launch the Quattro through the air. Got to be careful not to end up too close to the trees on the outside of that section. Biggest of the water splashes down here. Keep the speed up on the way through, and well, just kind of hope really that the car is going to not lose too much time. Still got more puddles to come around this course, still got more bumps. I mean, the average speed around here is pretty damn high. Oh, there are no real hairpins to be negotiating. I kind of like that though about having a much faster rally stage this time, and actually doing it as a rally stage as opposed to doing laps of a circuit. This corner is an interesting one. You want to of course try and stay out of the water as best you can, but the water sort of gradually creeps its way more and more across the course. Trying to pick a line through there is very, very important. Again, we want to be sticking out wide, avoiding the water when we can. Things get a little bit scary, a bit narrow through this section. Very, very bumpy. I have to have a little bit of a lift just to settle the car through there as we launch our way through the air once more in the Quattro. And again, for good measure, just a couple of corners to go now as we cross over a tarmac road up towards the finish line with the Audi. Put foot down towards that finish line. That looks like it is going to be a 246.9. That will be our benchmark for the following vehicles. I think the Quattro, is a very, very solid base of a car for this sort of a challenge. So, there we go. Quattro has set the benchmark. It is a glorious course. I really do very much like driving that course. I just got got up to 2 million credits. Fantastic. Right, now it is on to building of a vehicle, and I thought long and hard about what car would I want to use for the very first of the rally car builds. It was going to have to be something that was uniquely new to Horizon 3, and, well, being set in Australia, we had to be going for one of the Utes. Now, the Holden have driven that plenty in the demo. Good chance that most of you will have driven the Maloo at some point. So, for this build, I'm going to be taking the Falcon. We are going to be using the Falcon Ute for this. Now, rules for this series. The cars are going to be made four-wheel drive. Okay, that's going to be, for this particular series, we are going to have every vehicle as all-wheel drive. I've got the car in orange and black. This is one of the sort of manufacturer colours that the Ute comes in, which is fantastic. Yeah, the cars are going to have to be all-wheel drive. As I said, we're building them up to the top of S1 class. I am not going to change the engines in them unless it is required to get them to the PI. So for this car, for example, we're going to have no problem keeping it with the standard engine. We will get the all-wheel drive drivetrain first. Now, the engine swaps available are pretty awesome in this. 8.4 litre Viper V10 or the 6.5 litre V12. I believe that's the Ferrari Enzo engine. I think that's more powerful than the Enzo engine was, or more powerful than the V12 was on Forza 6? Well, let's start off with 650. Anyway, there are our options for the engines that are available for this car. We're not going to be using it. Likewise, we could go for the Rubars. It looks like sort of a zombie-proof car, Mad Max style vehicle with the Rubars on it. I would love to, however, for the interest of fairness to the vehicles, we are going to be running Forza Aero on all of them, so the body kit is not going to be used. We will want the downforce that we can get on here. No crazy wings on the back of the Ute, sadly. Fairly sensible. Just rear lip. Tyres-wise, we are going to be running on the off-road compound tyres. We are also going to have everything running the rally suspension here. Now, that does not give me very... Oh, no, it does give me plenty of PI to play with. I lied. Sorry. I forgot. I wasn't building it. So I was building some A-class vehicles earlier. Yeah, this can go up to S1 class. So, there we go. We got some nice big tyres on the front. 275s on the front. 315s on the rear. They are looking pretty handy. Pretty handy indeed in this. We have got that. Just making sure we put the brakes on. It's going to be important things. Now, we're going to want a fair amount in the way of handling parts on this car. While, yes, it is a relatively fast course, I am more concerned about trying to keep the damn thing on the road through the turn. Something that is going to be the way to go with the Ute. Actually took out a decent amount of weight in that. Took out almost 800 pounds. Did not make a huge difference to the PI, so I think we're going to be getting plenty of power. Plenty of power indeed, and that is always good, and I love how easy it is to get through the menus. Also, there is no rally gearbox on this game. You just got up to a race transmission. To be fair, the only difference the rally gearbox ever made was it gave the car sort of naturally shorter gear ratios. So yeah, the fact that that's not there, not a massive thing. Now let's go and try and get as much power out of this as we can in S1 class. The exhaust supercharger, will this save us a little bit of weight? Bloody hell, 109 horsepower from the supercharger. It's fractionally heavier, but bugger it, we're going for the upgrade supercharger in this. I don't know how much power the standard engine in this will get. Judging from this, it might get quite a lot. Probably not going to crack 1,000, but going to get a decent amount out of it. But, of course, we are limited to being in S1 class. We're still... Okay, I wasn't quite expecting this to be getting as much horsepower as it is. Not that I'm massively disappointed, however... this is a lot of power to beginning with. 741 horsepower. Okay, That's very, very much a thing that we're going to be dealing with. 741 horsepower in the all-wheel drive Ute. This thing is going to be an absolute monster. Now, seeing as the gearbox was already, it's a pretty damn decent gearbox, I didn't really feel the need to go and change it to this one here, although I am just seeing that the gear ratios are shockingly bad. So, in fact, actually, we can do this for no PI gain at all. I am surprised by that, but I'm going to take it. It's clutch. Okay, clutch is going to give us a PI gain, and that will as well. 180 miles an hour we're not going to be topping around the rally course, sorry. There we go. Our Ute is ready. I'm not sure I am, though. 66,700 credits for all of these improvements. I love this barkit system. It is fantastic for making the upgrade shop a lot more efficient, and I like that it actually gives you a total cost of the build on your car, essentially. The Ute is ready to go, and we are going to see if we can beat the Quattro. I mean, this has got so much power. This has got so much power and so much torque that I think it may well be able to go a fair bit quicker than the Audi. Although whether it has the grip, we do have the handling. We have the race tyres, big race tyres as well. But are we going to be as good as an Audi Quattro? That is a pretty tall order for a ridiculously powerful Ute. But there we go. The reason I picked S1 class, incidentally, is having looked around through the game, the classes do seem to be sort of a little bit higher in this, as in what would be a B-class car in Forza 6 is an A-class car here in Horizon 3, and I thought S1 would give us some, pretty fast rally cars. I have an Evo 6 I was messing around with that was S1 class at 400-500 horsepower in that great handling car. Wasn't quite expecting to be getting as much power immediately from the Ute, but there we go. Right, so this will be the first of 3 runs through the course for the Ford. It absolutely flies off the line as we're coming through the water splash for the first time. We will lose a little bit of speed, but it is still absolutely flying. Now, yes, the gear ratios may be a little bit short for this tarmac section. Okay, we don't have the brakes of the Quattro. That is something to be immediately aware of. We do not get stopped quite as nicely as the Audi. I mean, this is considerably heavier than the Quattro, although that might not necessarily be a bad thing when it comes to putting the power down on the dirt. Off-roading on here, as we saw with the V8 supercars, when I took them, off-roading on here is very different to that of Horizon 2. So, yeah, having a car working sort of on the road does not necessarily mean it's going to work as soon as you take it out here. Got a big twitch around the corner there, couldn't quite catch it in time before ending up in the barrier. We'll sweep down through that section. This is immediately a lot more scary to drive than the Quattro. We do not have the handling of the Audi, and while I'm not having really tight, really slow corners around this track, these are quite scary enough as it is. Try to tackle them in Ford, jump our way into the water splash. Not sure that's quite ideal. Not sure we want to be landing inside the water splash for a quick run through that section. Again, trying to make the most of the speed in this car. Please get down on the ground. Looking up at the sky is not helping me with seeing where the corner's going. That's quite frankly terrifying, doing that car. Right, trying to keep my foot down through these corners. There is a pretty decent grip going on through some of these quicker turns now. We're coming up towards this big long water splash. I think that might be a better route. I was toying with the idea of holding the cars out wide through there, try and run through the smallest part of water that I possibly could, but I think you end up taking a really wonky line, or I feel like you end up taking a wonky line if you do that. So I'm leaning towards more try and take the line and don't worry too much about losing the time through the puddle, although we did clip the trees having gone across these bumps. It is very easy to get the car catapulted around from side to side as you're trying to take 140 miles an hour. We're going very wide, but it's going to be fast. It's going to be seriously fast on the first run for the Ute. It was into a 239.6. That is stupidly quick from the Ford. Okay, well, I definitely think we can do better. We scraped our way past a tree on that run. We bounced our way off of a tree. We're a little wide in a couple of places. Wasn't very good on the brakes. So, yeah, we can definitely get some more time. Well, the Quattro's time is not going to stand for very long. And I wonder if these modified cars may be ridiculously fast in comparison. We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know whether this Ute has turned out to be amazing. It is possible. Well, it's pretty damn impressive to be this quick, to be this powerful, and everything. I am liking that a lot more of the vehicles, the general cars, are just getting more power on Horizon 3, whether it be from standard engine, whether it be from the engine swaps, and so on. There is a lot more power available in these cars. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Oh, here, twice in a row. I've got to learn. Got to learn for my third run. Cannot push it so hard. You think you can take speed through that turn, you just simply can't get away with it. Ooh, and we're going to catch some understeer on the run into that next corner. Did manage to get away with it, didn't sort of end up wide of the checkpoint. Now I do wonder, especially with that corner, if you were to chuck the car, like put the front wheel, just dip it in the water, you might be able to use that to help get the car turned a little bit quicker through that corner, but you are you are running a fair risk if you're doing that. If you're using the water to turn the car and slow the car, if you get it wrong, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble and crashing the vehicle. So I may dip the wheel into that inside puddle, but I'm not going to kind of use it exclusively for the for the use of trying to get more speed through that corner. I think you're just going to end up in too much trouble. Oh, that's a little bit of an interesting line through there. There's not another reason why I like this course, actually. There's not really much in the way of corner cutting that you can do. The position of the checkpoints and the kind of scenery around the place, there's not really that much advantage to be gained from going off the chosen path, or at least certainly not that I have seen. I mean, there are places where you can, but I'm not really sure any of it gives you a particular advantage around here. We're going to run a little bit wide, but again, we can get away with it. That was so close to a tree on the inside. I've got that corner all completely wrong. Yeah, I might have slightly forgotten what turn we were going to, and yeah, that was awful. That's absolutely awful. We've got to leave it a lot later to turn into that section, although I do already know that. Try and stay away from the water, but don't end up in the trees on the outside. Uh-oh, bad things are going on again. Oh, this section down here is about the narrowest part on the course and the bumpiest at the same time. We're getting thrown about from left to right, but we are now recovered back up into the air, and again, recovered it towards the final couple of turns. Well, this has been an eventful run, trying to carry more speed through that corner. Cross the line wasn't quite as good. Wasn't quite as good that time out. Now, I could just go and restart immediately. I'm going to go through getting the rewards just for the bonus money and XP, because I'm hoping we're going to get a wheel spin this time out. Indeed we are. Come on, game. Give us a nice, interesting car. I would be happy with a car, to be honest. Nope, you're going to give me crap. Look, there's a Corvette and there's a Ferrari 355 and you give me 4,000 credits. Thank you. Every time I'm filming. Almost every time I'm filming. I get absolute rubbish. Right. Yes, let us go again. Let us go again. We can go faster. Definitely. With this car. I'm really impressed with the Ute so far. It's not quite as easy to drive as the Quattro. It doesn't quite have the composure perhaps of the Quattro, but I think that's just because it is going so much bloody faster into every corner. This thing is an absolute monster. Perhaps not surprising with 700 horsepower and all-wheel drive. Okay, we are going through the water splash once more. 134 miles an hour by the time we get into that section. We are trying to carry more speed. How much speed I could get away with? Not quite that much. There we go. We have got the car stopped and turned much neater through that tarmac corner. Now we leave the tarmac section for the rally bits, and I have gone... Somehow I got through the gate. I thought we had buggered that one up completely. Took a very, very wide line, but we made it work somehow. Must just sort of clip through the back of the gate with the rear of the Ute. Well, I'm okay with that. We're getting bounced sideways on these bumps. Even with the off-road tyres, the off-road suspension, the bumps are still terrifying on here. I keep wanting to try and take that corner tighter, forgetting that there is a giant puddle on the inside. Now fire the car a little bit to the left. Keep it out of the trees. Nice landing from the Ute. I am pleased with that one. Much neater. I love that corner, though it's just gone through. That sort of S-bend, high-speed S-bend on the dirt is incredible. Once more, we are jumping into the water splash. Not quite the greatest of lines through that water splash. We ended up clipping one of the little bollards on the way out, but no massive harm done at this stage in the run. That is less than ideal. That just getting fired up into, just nose up into the air. That jump is a little bit scary on the landing. Fortunately, the trees on the apex of that corner, or I say kind of apex of that corner, fortunately the trees on the inside of that corner are drive-throughable. Okay, we've got a bit better line this time around through that turn. Still not 100% happy with that, but there we go. Stick out wide, avoid the puddle down there. No need to be slowed up as we're now bouncing our way through this section. Again, much like I did with the Quattro, just a little lift at a couple of places there. Settle the car so that we can fly nicer across these jumps and a little bit more controlled. I turned in a millisecond too soon, having to slightly counter that. We get a bit of understeer around the final turn. The run towards the line, though, it's going to be quick. 2:36 from the from the Ute. It's a whole second, 10 seconds, sorry. 10.5 seconds quicker than the Quattro. Oh, that Ute is fast. That Ute is bloody good fun as well. 2:36.2 from Ford. Okay, well, there we go. That is a hell of a target time now set by the Ute. A lot of power, pretty good on the grip front. Does get thrown about a little bit, but not too terribly. Could get away with carrying a lot of speed across the bumps and the jumps down here. So there we go. The first of our rally cars. The Ute goes at a 2:36.2. Well, there we go. That is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.